welcome back. My name is Angela Davis and I'm the 4M Quilter. And today we're going to talk about a video that I put up last week, and it was this one. As I had that on my wall all week, I would come in here in the morning or sometimes in the evenings just to look at it and really think about, is this the direction that I want to go? And sometimes I like to do that as I'm creating a quilt, because sometimes I have a clear path of the direction that I want to go in, and sometimes I just have sort of an inkling of an idea. And that one was just sort of an inkling of an idea. I wanted something to be central focused, and it just wasn't working for me. And when I realized that it just wasn't working for me, I started to try different ideas in my mind. And you'll notice that when I was getting ideas for the border, I started making those little arc shapes out of the different colors, the different pinks. And that's what prompted me to think about, well, maybe I should do something circular in the middle. And then I said, well, why not a Dresden plate? But I knew I didn't want it to be the Dresden plate like you see in the vintage quilts from the 1930s and 40s. I didn't want it to be a repeated block separated by lattice strips or cornerstones or anything like that. I wanted one large focal point. And so what I did was I ended up making strips. And let me see if I can show you. I ended up making strips from this fabric. I cut a strip here and a strip here. And then I cut a little bit of gold, and I sewed those strips together to create one wide strip to create the blades. Now, the template I used is a template that I drew from one of my books, and the template is smaller. And I thought, well, that's fine. I'll just elongate it with my long ruler. And that worked. It did. However, when I got all my blades on the wall, I was getting puckering in the middle. So because that particular blade was only meant for that particular size, and I elongated it from there, I think I distorted the angle. And so what I did to correct that was I got the plate on the wall and I had puckering in the middle. So what I did was, about every third blade, I would go in and from about here to here, I take it in just a hair. And I would do 2 or 3, get it up on the wall, see if the puckering had decreased. If I needed a little bit more, I might go to 2 more, and then do the same thing. Take it on my machine, and from about the midpoint to the inside, I would take in that seam just a hair until I got it to stay flat. Now, I don't think it's that noticeable. And I'm sure that as a quilter, you've been in that situation where you've had to take little nips and tucks to make things fit. But visually, it's not enough where it's that noticeable. And I'm okay with that. However, in the future, I will draft a long template. I do have instructions in one of my books about how to draft a Dresden plate template. And that's something that really I should teach myself. I just thought that if I took a standard size template out of my book and just elongated it, I wouldn't distort that angle, but apparently I did. But anyway, I'm pleased with how it turned out. I auditioned some colors for the middle, and I decided I'm going to stick with the black. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a circle for the center and then applique that right down. Or I can actually turn this under if I want. Press it really well. Take a couple little nips in there, some little snips in there so that it turns under easily. And then I can just applique that right to the center. That's also an option. I haven't decided yet. But overall, I'm very pleased. And then from the middle, I'm going to start on the border. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the border yet, but you know, I do have this wonderful striped fabric. So I can just cut some of these stripes to use in my border if I want to, or I can cut it across. Slice it this way so that it looks like almost like a piano key effect. I could also do it that way. I have a lot of options. But I'm really, really glad that I left the original piece on the wall for weeks so that I could look at it during the week and say, which direction am I going in? Because I really thought at that point I was going to break into the stripes, the strips from that print, and create something more emphasizing the strips, when in reality I wanted to emphasize the center. Sometimes as quilters we start out with one idea, and I kept the main idea. The main idea was to have a focal point in the middle, but I also felt that just that one panel, I couldn't quite get the borders right. So that's when I thought, well, I want to stick to my focal point in the middle. What if I make the Dresden plate, only make it big and bold and not like your grandmother's Dresden plate, like you see from the 1930s and 1940s. And while those are beautiful quilts, reminiscent of days gone by, I wanted something modern to match the fabric. And I'm really, really pleased. And this is by no means done. So from here, I still have this, which is my original center, and I may put this on the back. That's an idea as well. So, and now that I'm thinking about it, I just might turn this under. I'll have to play with it. How that works is it's called, let me stand back. It's called reverse applique. And what I would be doing is I'd be trimming this a little bit to make this even, make sure it's a nice smooth circle, and then I'll take little snips into the curve and then turning under that seam allowance, probably about 1/3 of an inch. And in that way, those snips will help ease that fold over to release some of the tension. because right now it would be very stiff to fold. And to be very honest with you, I'm not sure how big the backing is. All I did was I held up this fabric, and I did it visually. I held it up and said, okay, that's wide enough. And I cut the square according to whatever the width was. When I visualized it, I just sort of hung it up like this and said, okay, that looks right. And then I cut my square. I'm getting caught up in my getting caught up in my here, let me sit down. I'm getting caught up in my getting caught up in the wire. But instead of measuring and then deciding, well, how many inches do I want on this side and that side and here and there, I just sort of visualized it. And before I put the borders on, I will measure between here and here on all four sides, and if I need to trim it up to square it up, I will do that. But so far, I'm really, really pleased with it. And if you're pleased with it, you know what to do. Like it, subscribe, so that you can continue watching my progress on this quilt. This is normally not fabric that I would buy. Now let me tell you the story behind this fabric. I went to the store to buy fabric to make a new shower curtain, and I wanted red roses, and I just couldn't find the right print. And I mean, I looked and I looked and I looked, and I went to the clearance rack and I saw this, and I went, well, first of all, why is this on clearance? It's gorgeous. It's Japanese inspired print. As you can see how beautiful the flowers are, and the fans are just gorgeous. And of course the gold scroll in the background. And I thought, you know what, I think I like that. It has the roses, which is what I liked. It has the gold thread, which is a little fancier than what I wanted, but I think I'm going to buy it. And I knew how much measurements I needed to make a full shower curtain, and they didn't have enough of this print. So I bought this print here, and I thought I'll use this print as my main fabric, and then about 3/4 down I'll trim it and then put the all over floral along the bottom to give it a little uniqueness. Well, I put it all together and I went to go hang it up in the bathroom, and I'm going to be honest with you, it just was too fancy. Like, I wanted a very soft roses, and I'm not saying this isn't beautiful, it's gorgeous fabric, but for my bathroom, my bathroom doesn't have this look. And so then I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this fabric? So it's been in my stash for a few months now, only a few months, because like I said, I originally bought it with the intention of making a shower curtain. And so when I went downstairs to pull fabric for stash busting, I said, you know what can I do with this fabric? I'm going to do something where there's a focus in the middle, and that's how this all got started, with this. And now we're here. So I'm pleased. So I'm going to leave this on the wall for a few days and think about how I want to do my border. So meet me back here next time to finish the grandmother's fan. But it's not really a grandmother's fan, is it? It's more of a modern twist on the traditional grandmother's fan. So meet me back here next time. I'm Angela Davis. I'm the 4M Quilter. Thank you so much for joining me today. You enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up, a like, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Here's a little hug from Angela. And remember, why sleep when you can sew?